Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and welcome to my official Buccaneers 2018-2019 season record prediction. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. If you do like this video, go ahead and click the like button down below. And if you want to check out the website and make your own predictions, the link that will be down in the description below as well. Just go ahead and actually put your record that you predict the Bucs are going to have down in the comments section. I'm very excited to hear what type of record you think the Buccaneers are going to have. So the way this website works is like you click on the name and the logo of which team you think is going to win, and then if you look over here on like the left, if I scroll down here, it'll actually update you on the team's record. So this will be very easy, and you don't have to do it for every single team to progress in the week. So like I could do, say, the Giants beat the Jaguars, and then I advance to the next week. All of that will update for just the Giants and the Jaguars, and then I can go ahead and just keep on progressing through the weeks and like change around as much as I want. So I will be able to do just the Buccaneers here, thankfully. So let's get started. I'll be giving a little bit of analysis for each game, obviously not a whole lot because the games haven't even played yet and they won't be played for a very couple of months here. But let's get started with week 1 here versus the New Orleans Saints. I have the Buccaneers losing here, and the reason is because the New Orleans Saints are one of the most complete teams in the NFL right now. You know, without like making big flashy free agent signings, you know, just specifically through the draft, they have a pretty darn good team, and I think they're one of the best teams, if not potentially the best team in the NFC right now. I definitely think they're one of the top teams to beat, so I have them taking the Buccaneers in week 1. I don't know if the Bucs are going to be fully prepared with Ryan Fitzpatrick rather than Jameis Winston. I think some things are going to be off, and they have to work out some kinks. And I think this is where kind of that little bit of, not dysfunction, but I do think a little bit, they are going to be running into some problems here to start off their year, and it starts with this Saints game. So moving on to week 2, I have them losing to the Philadelphia Eagles, and I know it's like, James, what the heck? Why do you have them going 0-2? Just bear with me, guys. Please, bear with me. When everything's said and done, things should be going well-ish. So, you know, I do have them losing, going up against the Eagles, because quite frankly, just if you were to look at these matchups on paper, the Eagles, Super Bowl champions and whatnot, you know, they're really freaking good. They're going to have Carson Wentz back. They're going to have most of their weapons back on defense. They are missing some pieces, but they have their big names there, which is what matters, quite frankly. And I think they're just going to outpower the Buccaneers in just terms of raw ability. So the Bucs do lose their home opener here. I'm sorry. I know I'm starting off with 2 losses here. Just bear with me, okay? Moving on to week 3, I do have them beating the Pittsburgh Steelers in Monday Night Football. Now I know what you're saying is like, James, what the heck? Why did you just have them losing to the Eagles and the Saints, but you have them beating the Steelers? Well, the reason is because I think finally by around week 3, Fitzpatrick, I know it'll be like his last week, but he'll be getting into the groove. Things will start gelling more, and things will be able to come in and actually start working and clicking. I think on Monday Night Football, this will finally hit. I'm going to be at this game. I hope you guys are going to be at that game as well. You know, and I think finally things are going to start clicking. We all knew that something like this could happen, like a 1-2 start, a potential 0-3 start. So, you know, I mean, is it really a surprise that I would have us going like 1-2, potentially 0-3? I don't think so. But I do have them beating out the Steelers here. So we didn't go 0-3. Isn't that nice? I think that's nice. But just bear with me, guys. Moving on to week 4, I do have them beating the Chicago Bears. I think the Buccaneers are a little bit farther along ahead than the Chicago Bears at this point. You know, I kind of like what the Bears have been doing. They spent a ton of money this past offseason bringing in some offensive playmakers. I do feel, however, that the Buccaneers are just going to have the overall more complete veteran-y type team, and I think that's overall going to help them beat the Bears. Moving on to week 5, the Buccaneers do have a bye week here, as you can see down in the bottom left with the Chicago Bears. And then moving on to week 6, I do have them losing coming back from the bye week versus the Atlanta Falcons. The reason I do is because these past couple of years, every time we play the Falcons away, we get slaughtered. Like, it's not even fun. They just murder us. And I think that streak's going to continue this year. Things will rebound, but I don't like the Bucs' chances away versus the Falcons ever at this point, because I've seen enough blowouts now to just like have freaking bad memories have nightmares about it, okay, man? So I think that'll continue. Week 7, this is where things start getting pretty good. I do have them beating the Cleveland Browns, just, again, kind of like what I said with the Chicago Bears. I like what the Bears are doing a little bit, and I like what the Browns have been doing. You know, they got Tyrod Taylor, they got Baker Mayfield, they have options. But I think that they're not there yet. I think if you give it another year, get some guys developing, you have Josh Gordon still, that's really good, but I don't think they have all the pieces there yet. I think they're a little bit too young and still too raw to do anything of significance right now, which is why I'm giving the Bucs the win, especially at home. I think the Bucs played pretty decent at home, so I'll give them the win here. Moving on to week 8, I have them versus the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm going to give them the win. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals, to me, are one of the worst teams in the league right now because of how directionless they are right now. Yes, you're rolling with Andy Dalton still. You're rolling with Marvin Lewis. That hasn't worked. What are your backup plans? You don't really have any yet. So I think they're going to try and see what they can do in terms of like developing some plans. They just don't have a direction right now with the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bucs are going to be able to take advantage of that and get a sneaky win here to go 4-3 so far. 4-3 through week 8. I don't think that's terrible. It's not great, obviously, but it's not terrible. So it's not bad. Moving on to week 9 versus the Carolina Panthers. I do have the Panthers winning. In this scenario, I do have the Bucs splitting even with the Falcons and the Panthers, so this is kind of the start of that. The Bucs did just string together a couple of nice wins in week 7 and week 8, but here in week 9, I do think they are going to kind of lose a little bit more, and going into week 10, things aren't going to be much better. The Panthers, they're kind of doing some stuff. They got some new targets for Cam Newton. Devin Funchess kind of emerged last year as a better option than some people have given him credit for. You just drafted, I think it wasn't Calvin Ridley, was it? It was somebody else. I can't remember who they drafted at wide receiver, but they drafted somebody at wide receiver, and their defense is still pretty decent. As long as Luke Kuechly's healthy and their defensive line's healthy, they should be okay. So I'll give the Panthers the win here. Moving on to week 10 versus the Washington Redskins. Again, I'm going to give them the loss here. They're going to be 4-5. I know that's not a good look. Just bear with me. So 4-5. The Bucs have one of the hardest schedules this year, and with the Redskins replacing Kirk Cousins with Alex Smith, that's a better replacement than most people thought that they were going to get. They did lose some defensive firepower in the terms of, Kendall Fuller, but I still think they have a pretty decent defense, all things considered. Jay Gruden, I like him as a coach a lot, and I think with the addition of Darius Guice and Jordan Reed, still one of the good tight ends, and you still have a very decent offensive lineman, and you still have some good weapons there as well. I really like Jamison Crowder. I think that's just going to be a little bit too much for the Bucs to handle, at least right now. They're still a very young team. They still have a lot of growing to do, so I don't think they're ready to be as dominant as they should be yet. Moving on to week 11 versus the New York Giants. I'm going to give them the win, if only because the Giants almost seem not as rudderless as the Cincinnati Bengals. You have Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham. That should speak for itself, but I think the Buccaneers are going to be able to attack those two players and really try and prevent them from doing anything. It's Saquon Barkley's rookie year, so he might kill us, but he also might not. And Eli's at quarterback, and right now I don't trust Eli that much. I don't trust that defense either, especially considering that they didn't really get that good of a replacement for Jason Pierre-Paul after they traded him to the Bucs. So I think the Bucs can take advantage of a pretty not decent Giants defense, minus maybe Landon Collins and Janoris Jenkins. And I think that they can kind of focus in on, okay, we need to prevent Odell Beckham and we need to prevent Saquon Barkley from doing their thing, and kind of limit Eli Manning and make him make some bad decisions, which lately Eli's been semi-prone to do. So I think the Bucs can get a win here versus the Giants. Moving on to week 12, I have them beating the 49ers, okay? Now, you listen to me. I am not fully on board with this 49ers hype train nonsense, okay? I think they're spending a lot of money, and I don't think all of it's going to pan out. The 49ers are the darlings of this offseason. Jimmy G's a god, He hasn't been a starter for a full year, and I think he's going to struggle. And I think the Buccaneers can take advantage of that, and quite frankly, the lack of the 49ers weaponry that they have. They've been signing a lot of weird players who haven't been full-time starters. So I think the Bucs can take advantage of this lack of overall starting quality, I guess you could say. I mean, I'm sure it'll be a pretty decent team, but I think the Bucs can take advantage here of their lack of starting time and sneak out a win here. Not sneak out a win, because honestly, I don't really have that much faith in the 49ers this year. I think they are going to struggle a little bit, but I do give the win to the Bucs here. Moving on to week 13 versus the Carolina Panthers. Guess what? I'm giving them a win. Bam! 3 Bucs wins in a row. Whoa, bet you weren't expecting that, were you? You gotta give me some faith, guys. I know things weren't looking too good. You know, we were like 2-2 by week 4, but things are looking better, okay? It's not that bad. So this would be a very crucial win for the Buccaneers, as you know, it puts them at 7-5, and you split with the Panthers. I don't think the Panthers play the Bucs very good whenever the Bucs play them at home. So I think that's going to continue here. Again, I kind of like what the Panthers are doing, but at the same time, you know, they could be either pretty decent or really not good. And I think that we're gonna see both shades of that this season. I think the Buccaneers, again, can make the most of the opportunity by getting a win, maybe taking advantage of some of the inexperience in, like, Devin Funchess as a full-time weapon, that rookie wide receiver who I can't remember the name of. Their running back position, you have Christian McCaffrey, but it seems like the coaches don't really know what to do with him. And they also just lost Andrew Norwell at guard, which I think, you know, the Bucs defensive line is going to love that. They're going to make Cam Newton run like forever. So adding all that together and a little bit of a shakier defense, you know, Luke Kuechly's pretty good. The D-line's pretty good. That secondary is still a little bit of a mystery to me. I think that the Bucs can capitalize on that and can get a win here. Moving on to week 14. Week 14 versus the Saints. I have the Saints winning again. That's right. The Saints are going to sweep us. They are, and I know you're not going to like that, guys. And that's fine. That's fine. You know, that's totally okay. The Saints sweeping the Bucs is honestly expected for me. Why? Because they're really freaking good. The Saints are so good. They're one of the best teams in the league right now, and I know a lot of people aren't going to like to hear that, guys, but we have to be realistic. You know, I can't say, 12-4 Bucs, we're making the Super Bowl. I got to be realistic here for these predictions. I'm sorry, that's just in my nature. And I think the Saints are just one of the best teams in the NFC right now, maybe even the NFL in terms of overall roster. And I think they're going to sweep the Bucs here. I know, again, it is a home game for the Bucs, and the Bucs have been playing very well at home versus the Saints lately, but I don't think it continues here. I think the Saints finally get the better of the Bucs, you know, away this year for them. And yeah, I think the Bucs are going to get swept, unfortunately. Moving on to week 15 versus the Baltimore Ravens. I'll give the Bucs the win here. The Ravens kind of remind me a little bit of like the Bengals, where they don't have a lot. They don't know what they're doing. They are a little bit better than the Bengals in the option of that they do have Lamar Jackson as the successor to Joe Flacco. But I think that they're really going to stick it with Joe Flacco. I think they're going to be stubborn, and I don't think Joe Flacco's that good. So I think that he's going to struggle. I think that they're going to be able to take advantage of them losing Ryan Jensen and some other pieces on offense and defense. And I think that the Bucs will be able to get a win here. I like Alex Collins a lot, and I think Alex Collins will do good for them, but I think they'll be able to capitalize on their overall lack of offensive firepower, and their defense has been aging lately, specifically on the defensive line. Things haven't been great. I know they have, I think it's like Timmy Jernigan, but Terrell Suggs isn't getting any younger. Some of their other pass rushers aren't getting any younger. And same with their secondary. You know, Eric Weddle's very old as well. We don't know how he's going to play. So all in all that being said, I think the Bucs weaponry can take advantage of that and get the win there. Moving on to week 16, and week 16 is versus the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I have the Dallas Cowboys taking the win here. I think the Cowboys are going to rebound a little bit with Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott, and a always kind of improving defense for these Cowboys. I do think they're going to get a win here, especially considering that the Bucs are playing away, and they really haven't been playing. Well, last year they played the Cowboys really tough. But, you know, Des Bryant wasn't even a factor in that game, and they still couldn't win. So I think that now they don't have to worry about, like, trying to give Des Bryant the ball. I think they can just focus on getting Dak his looks and just giving Ezekiel Elliott the ball. When you factor in some of these defensive pieces that they have, DeMarcus Lawrence is a literal monster. And Sean Lee's okay. He's pretty good. He's not better than Levante David or Quan Alexander. Never get that twisted, ever. I think that the Cowboys will get the win here, unfortunately. Moving on to week 17, the final week of the year versus the Atlanta Falcons at home. The Buccaneers are going to win, in my opinion. They're going to win, in my opinion. And they're going to end off this year at 9-7. You know, the Buccaneers always play really darn hard in the last week of the year. And I think they're going to get the win here, finish at 9-7. And are they going to be making the playoffs at 9-7? I don't know. It's possible. It may seem unlikely. But who knows? Who knows? You know, you'll probably be competing with teams like the Detroit Lions, like the Falcons, like the Panthers. You know, it's going to be hard, but I think 9-7 is a pretty good prediction for this team. I don't think they're fully there yet. They've been definitely making a ton of moves to try and get there, but I think 9-7 is a pretty good record for this team in terms of how they're overall going to do. You know, you play a lot of tough games, guys. You know, week 1, you're playing the New Orleans Saints. Week 2, you're playing the Eagles. And then week 3, you play the Steelers. That's a really, really, really tough start to the year. You're playing 2 playoff teams and the Super Bowl champions. You know, I have them going at 1-2 with their backup quarterback, no less. I'm not gonna, you know, sugarcoat it. That sucks. That's really hard. Then you have them playing some easier teams like the Bears, and then you have a bye week, and then you come back and you play the Falcons. That's tough, especially away you're playing the Falcons. The Buccaneers have one of the toughest divisions in the league. You know, 3 teams from the NFC South made the playoffs last year. That's rough. I have them beating the Browns. I have them beating the Bengals. Those games are very winnable in my opinion. The Panthers are always a tough team to beat sometimes. I don't think they're that good, but I still think that the Bucs have a tough time playing them sometimes. So I don't know how they're going to do there. The Redskins are a tough team for me to call as well. That one's honestly a toss-up. I don't know what you could say for that one, but I do have them beating the Giants. I do have them beating the 49ers. I do have them beating the Panthers. You know, 3-game win streaks, nothing to sneeze at. I think 9-7 is one of the more realistic options for the Buccaneers. And I totally understand if you want to say maybe 10-6. You know, maybe you say that they beat the Redskins, or maybe they split it with the Saints, or maybe they even sweep the Panthers. I got really close to just having them sweep the Panthers and go 10-6, but ultimately I think 9-7 is a pretty realistic record. 2-4 in the division. I know it sucks, guys. I know it's not good, but 2-4. You know, we play in a tough division. I think splitting with the Falcons, splitting with the Panthers, that's pretty good. Maybe you could sweep the Panthers. You know, maybe if you want to change that, make this 10-6, that's pretty good. That's playoff team, you know, that's a playoff team. 9-7 could still be a playoff team. Don't think that that's like, oh, well, you're not saying that the Bucs are in the playoff, James. I don't mean that. I think they can be in the playoffs with this record. It'll just be hard. But at the end of the day, you know, you go from 5-11, I think it was last year, to 9-7. That's pretty good improvement in my opinion, and I think things would be on the up and up for this team. So let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section below. Do you like my prediction? Do you hate my prediction? Again, let me know all your predictions for the Bucs record down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear them. I do hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'm sorry, I guess they have a winning record. They're 9-7. Come on, don't hate me. A lot of Bucs analysts out there are having the Bucs going like 5-11, 3-13. You know, bad stuff, man. At least I'm spinning a positive on it, you know? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you all enjoyed. Again, let me know your predictions down in the comment section below. And as always, I will see you in the next video or live stream. But until then, goodbye for now, guys. And as always, go Bucs.